So we'd like to find the thousandth derivative of x e to the negative x. How long have you got? So we definitely will want to look for a pattern here. So let's start with the first derivative, and we have a product rule. So we have first times the derivative of the second, and the second is e to the negative x, so it's e to the stuff times the derivative of the stuff, which would be -1. Okay, then we've got plus the second, which is e to the negative x, times the derivative of the first, but the derivative of x is just 1. So there's our first derivative. Let's go ahead and take a second derivative. So looking here, we have x e to the negative x, but we have the negative of that. And so we started with an x e to the negative x, so the second derivative is going to look just like this, but with opposite signs for this first term. So it's going to be x e to the negative x minus e to the negative x. But that was just the derivative of this piece, which was the same as the derivative of this piece, but opposite signs. We now have multiplied by the derivative of e to the negative x, which is e to the negative x times the derivative of the negative x. So that could be expressed as x e to the negative x minus 2e to the negative x. All right, let's do a third derivative. And so we see we have x e to the negative x, which was exactly what we started with. So that will be this part right here, which is negative x e to the negative x plus e to the negative x. But then we have we also have this last term, which is going to be e to the negative x times the derivative of the stuff. That'll make that plus 2. So we could simplify, these are like terms to be combined. So we have negative x e to the negative x plus 3e to the negative x. All right, let's do one more derivative, and then we're going to look for a pattern because that's enough. All right, so our derivative of negative x e to the x, well, that's what we started with when we did this, and we got these two terms. So that's going to be x e to the negative x minus e to the negative x, and then we have the derivative of e to the negative x times the derivative of the negative x, which is negative, multiplied by that 3. Combining like terms here, so we have x e to the negative x minus 4e to the negative x. All right, we're ready to look for patterns, and then we're going to find the 100th derivative of this. So looking at the patterns, we first see that the first term is always an x e to the negative x, but it alternates signs between minus and plus. It looks like all the odd derivatives have a negative sign on the first term, and all the even derivatives have a positive sign. So if we want the 1000th derivative, the first term is going to be x e to the negative x. Now looking at the second term, it's always an e to the negative x, but this coefficient is changing, and in fact it has the same coefficient as the derivative number, first, second, third, fourth, but the signs are going to alternate. It looks like on every even derivative it's negative. So this is going to be negative, we're on the 1000th derivative, e to the negative x.